In fact, I want to tell you a little bit about one thing that they did that it humbles me to think that if they're in the small ability and living in the shadows are able to organize so well, how come people who has the freedom do not do the same thing? This is a story of what we needed to go to Washington. The state representative for Gutierrez, Luis Gutierrez from Chicago, he was introduced the immigration reform. Remember, we heard a lot of noise about that. He was introduced the immigration reform, and so we organized in a network in our area. We like 10 different nonprofit organizations that we form a network. And that network is organized into a state, RITA, Reform Immigration for Texas Alliance. We like names of a woman for some reason. And then RITA is part of RIFA, Reform Immigration for America. So first we have our own little network of different organizations in the Valley, and this is a way that we're organizing because we need to be bigger. We need to have a bigger voice, more than just one organization can have. And so when we wanted to come, the whole RIFA said, you need to bring people from all over the country to Washington. Our organization is made of 6,000 undocumented people. Not many resources there. $40 a year only can take you so far. So we took this issue to our committees of people in the colonias and said, you know, they had invited us, they want us to take a delegation to Washington, but we don't have no money. What do you think we can do? The people said, we have in our culture, and a lot of the cultures also have, we probably borrow from some other culture, we have the dollar dance. How many of you know about the dollar dance? Can you raise your hand? Some people. There's also, besides being in the Mexican culture, there's other cultures who have, I think Greeks also have the same thing. When you go and when you get married, and the wedding feast, you usually have, you can dance with the bride or with the groom, and you can pin $1 to their dress. Or somebody will collect $1 for each little piece of dance that you do, right? So the people said, why won't we do the dollar name? A dollar name. I give you $1 and you take my name to Washington. Because the people is not able to travel to Washington. Not many people of our membership. Because we, as I said, we have a second checkpoint there that stops everybody, right? We have to prove that we are citizens or we are residents. If we're able to, it's like a 70 miles north of our Rio Grande Valley, we have another checkpoint. So the people said, let's do the dollar name. And I was able, and let me tell you that I went to other communities, very, very poor communities. You don't even imagine how these people live. But the people will bring the little coins, the little bunch of coins, and we're able to raise $2,000 to send 6 people to Washington, and that delegation. I went and tried to raise this money to big mega churches, and they gave me 0 money. They didn't have money in the budget to be able to do this ministry. The people who don't have nothing are the ones that are able to send us to Washington to represent them, because they knew how important it is, this issue. And they can stay without a meal. It's a sacrifice that they have to do, but this going to Washington, it was very important. So this is how the people in the Rio Grande Valley is organizing around immigration reform. They sacrifice. They do whatever needs to be done, and whatever is they're able to do, except travel to Washington. They can't do that. But I know that if they were able to do it, they will find the ways to do it, but they can't, because there's a checkpoint. But this is what the people are doing to work for the immigration reform. And the question is, what are we doing? What are you doing? Because we can't do it alone. This is a bigger problem. And this is not a problem of immigrants alone. This is a problem of all people of faith in this country. This is a problem that we are not going to tackle together, and we're not going to solve it by ourselves. It's something that we need to do it together. Maybe this is an opportunity that God has given us. Like Fred was saying, maybe this is what God wants us to be together, to get across the aisle, across our railroad tracks, and reach out to the people that usually are not be part of our table. Maybe this is an opportunity. It's like today I see that a lot of people came together for this. Just the matter of fact that these many people of different ways of life are able to come together is a sign that maybe this is an opportunity for us that we need to take. Maybe God wants us to do this together. Maybe God is calling us to really respond and to live out those beatitudes, to be people of beatitude. Say, we need to do this for our own humanity, not for the immigrants, but for us, so we don't lose our humanity, because this is what is happening with this discussion of immigration reform. We criminalizing a whole group of people. We really taking the humanity out of these people, and we really don't see them as humans anymore. And in the midst of that, we are the citizens of this country, and forget our own humanity. We forget our own story, that we all, at one point, immigrants too. How many of you, your parents or your grandparents, came from another country? Raise your hand. Many people, right? But we forget. Once we become comfortable in this country and we have everything that we need, we forget. We're people who don't have long memory. It happened to the Egyptians, right? When we took out of Egypt, they forgot. When they were going into the desert, they forgot how hard they had it in Egypt. They want to go back to Egypt. It happened to us too. This is not a time to be comfortable. This is a time to organize, like our immigrant community are doing in the Rio Grande Valley. This is a time to build coalitions. This is a time to build networks. This is a time to look beyond our own comfortable life, our own comfortable status. And we need you. We need every single person of faith to live out their faith and to act on this faith and to move on and really work for immigration reform. I'm going to invite you today before you leave, so you don't forget, because we forgetful people. I'm going to invite you to take the name, copy the name of one of the persons in my list. I brought some of the list of the people who gave me $1 to go to Washington. And I carry with me everywhere I go, because these are the people, this is the inspiration that keep me going. I don't want to forget. I don't want to forget that one day I came undocumented to this country. I don't want to be so comfortable that I just want to live comfortable and forget. I wanted to continue to be related to these people. I wanted to know that at the end of my life, my salvation came from walking with the people who needed to be saved. I wanted to be sure of that. I wanted to take that with me, and I instill those things and those values on my children too. To never forget where your mom came from. You also an immigrant in this land. Thank you so much.